Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan, and today we're going to check out Willett Bourbon. Now, the date I'm recording this is September 15th, 1-5. Just got back from elk hunting, spent 12 days on the mountain, hence why I look a little haggard here. Only at home for a little while, and then got to go back, do some family stuff. Had a family member pass away, so got to deal with all that. And so I'm going to crank through a couple of whiskeys today in this shoot, and then hopefully again tomorrow, but who knows, because I got a bunch of junk I got to take care of. Doesn't really matter, as this episode probably will not be airing, at least on YouTube for sure, until, I don't know, April, May, June, July, sometime crazy in 2022, if the world is still standing at that point. But that's okay. And while I was out elk hunting, because my wife is amazing, she went and picked up, I think, 8 bottles of whiskey that we're going to review here in the next couple of episodes. This Willett, the Woodford Reserve Double Oak, and the Redemption Rye I picked up here locally. And so picked those up a couple weeks ago, and then went elk hunting. Also, this year, 2021, elk hunting was phenomenal. We were into elk, I think, every single day. A buddy of mine missed an opportunity, unfortunately, smoked a tree. But it was a clean miss, so hey, we'll take that. I never got to draw, but my goal this year was herd bull only, or at least a bull bigger than the ones I've already shot, because we have a freezer full of beef and we didn't exactly need the meat. And hunting's not over. I'm still going to try and get on the mountain here locally, maybe a day or two. Fortunate enough that if I leave bright and early in the morning, I can drive up the mountain, hunt for a day, come back. And then also, because my buddy did not fill his tag, we're going to try and figure out a way to work out a rifle hunt sometime in October here. So, or maybe even November and December, depending on which zone we choose and whatever else. So, looking forward to that as well. Hopefully, if you guys are hunters or elk hunters, your seasons are just getting rolling, you're finding success and having fun and enjoying life. Okay, all that out of the way today, Willett Bourbon by Kentucky, Kentucky Bourbon Distillers Ltd. So it's the Willett family pot still bourbon. This is their standard bourbon in a 750. They got this classic bottle, very recognizable. One of a kind sitting on the shelf. It's supposed to look like an old pot still. Does a pretty good job with that. I like it a lot. Picked this up for $47.66. The next town down the road at a liquor store I hadn't been to before. Went in there, was happy to find that they had several brands that I didn't see here locally in my town. However, a lot of the same brands that I did see were a little bit higher in price. But a couple of them were lower, so you know, it pays to know kind of what the average is, or at least what the MSRP is, or kind of what you're able to find something for in your area. So with all of that, let's get into it. The one downside I have to this bottle is because of its shape, it glugs a lot, and sometimes can be a little bit difficult to pour without spilling. But like I said, classic bottle. There was not an age statement on here. I believe it was 6 years, but don't quote me on that because I didn't really look it up. So small batch bourbon made in Kentucky, batch number 20C, as in Charlie, 48. Made in Bardstown, 47% ABV or 94 proof. It's a straight bourbon. On the nose, we get just a hint of cherry, an overwhelming brown sugar, especially from the top of the glass. You get a lot of sweet notes, but you get a floral cherry in there, brown sugar, and a hint of oak. not really much in way of caramel or vanilla. And if you see me looking over to my right, it's because not only is my computer over there for prices and whatever else, but my baby monitor's over there trying to sneak a couple videos in quickly. So yeah, dad of the year here. But this is the only way I can get this done. So now in the nose, the ethanol is coming off a lot more than you would expect from something that's only at 94 proof. Like I almost just coughed the last two sniffs because it's getting in the back of my throat. But very simple nose, but it's rich in depth. It's just very simple. It smells sweet, brown sugar, cherry blossom kind of stuff. Very nice. On the taste. Taste is ethanol forward, slight burn, a little bit of like a tannic, a fairly heavy tannic, wood tannin note up front. Moves into a nice sweet middle where you pick up a little bit of caramel actually, and definitely some brown sugar, and almost pushing into a honey at the end where you kind of get that earthy honeyness. And then you pick back up with some barrel spice in there, and definitely some tannin. So the finish is wood, barrel impact, and brown sugar. So there's a little bit of sweet, a little bit of spice, a little bit of wood. It's actually really quite nice. I like it a lot. I do want to give a shout out to everybody who's been subscribing to the channel. You know, I've been on YouTube for a year and a half, almost 2 years now, if not 2 years. And in the last 4 months, I've probably gained 40 subscribers. I looked yesterday and I was at like 99. So I haven't quite tipped 100, and that's 100 total, not 100,000. I'm not that fortunate yet. But thank you to everybody who has subscribed. Greatly appreciate it. Any interaction you have with the videos definitely bumps me up in the algorithms. I've noticed that my whiskey under $10 series seems to have been caught up in the algorithm, because I'm getting thousands of views. Well, you know, a couple thousand views, 2,000 to 3,000 views on those videos. So the algorithm must be kicking those out to people. So thanks for watching those. I'm actually going to do, you know, I got 140 some odd bottles of whiskey now. Pretty good selection. I'm paying for it all. It's all coming out either mine or my wife's pocket. So it's starting to get a little spendy here, and I got enough bottles now that I can start making some recommendations and stuff. So I'll do some videos with like my favorite picks in a given variety, and then I'll do some dollar amounts, like my picks for the money. And I got more, like the nice thing is I got more bottles like the JTS Brown and a couple of others that were under $10, or at least maybe under $15. To add to that cheap whiskey series, and so, or budget whiskey if you want. And so what I really think I'm going to do is you know, start pushing those out as well, because you know, just because the price is cheap doesn't mean the quality or the flavor is cheap. Yeah, you're probably not going to get the proof, although some, like the Ezra Brooks 90, you know, you're getting a 90 proof whiskey for under $10, depending on your location. You know, that's kind of nice. And so I want to just highlight some of those things, as well as some of the different things that I've found that I really appreciate as I've gone on this whiskey journey and have explored through, you know, 100 plus bottles at this point. There really are some really nice things. So that talking wasn't just filler. I was letting this air out a little bit just to see what it would do, and it just got more densely sweet on the nose, so that brown sugar really took over. You lose almost all of the floral component that I was getting in there, so you lose that cherry blossom, cherry note that was in there, and it is largely just syrupy, sweet brown sugar, but really nice, because it's a really deep brown sugar, or maybe even a homemade caramel, so like some caramelized sugar in a fry pan, kind of a deep, rich smell. Really enjoying that. And then some oak comes into that nose as well now, which is very nice. So Back on the taste, still kind of ethanol-y, bitey forward, but it's there for just a minute. So it's a barrel impact forward with some ethanol. The ethanol dissipates, but that barrel, that tannic astringency lingers into that mid palate where you pick up those sweet flavors. And then it mellows out a little bit, and it also dries out like a dry wine mouthfeel. And that astringency just kind of lingers a little bit as more of those sugars, that brown sugar and actual oak, pick up with a little black pepper spice going into that finish. So there you go. Really, really nice whiskey. Willett picked it up for $47.66 here locally, next town over, in Wyoming. Not a bad little bottle. It's one of those things that, maybe if you're feeling a little fancy one day, or if you got somebody you want to impress, bring out the Willett. If nothing else, it's always a showstopper when you have it sitting out, on the shelf there, because it is a very nice presenting bottle. And then, as you can see, sorry, I just had to bring up my video feed to see if you could see what I can see, which is all these bottles sitting over here. These are all going to be what I review, although one of them's just a standard Lafroig 10, which we've already reviewed, but we're going to do that in comparison to my wife picked us up, I should say, a Lafroig 10 cask strength, and then a Lafroig 10 sherry cask finish. Excellent whiskeys. You're going to want to stick around for those. And then these largely are just empties that I am keeping for my recommendations and cheap whiskey series, because I want to have the bottles to be able to display. Yeah, the whiskey's gone, but you know what? That's okay. So there won't be a taste testing of some of them. Others I still have on hand, but those budget whiskeys tend to be my daily drinkers, or the ones I have up in the liquor cabinet upstairs that I don't have to come down here to enjoy or make a pour of. So we'll get into that, and some of them are also my Infinity bottles, which you've seen before. And then also, I got some experiments. This one in particular, that if you go back, look at the videos, you'll see I did a review of Pine Bluff's single malt. It was only aged for 6 months. Was not a fan of the nose. To me, it literally smelled like vomit. Luckily, the flavor was much better than the taste, or the nose, but it still was a little bit rough getting into. So I decided to take a large portion of it, throw some oak chips in it, and see if I couldn't. You're not really aging it, you're not maturing it. So anytime you do something like this, say you take a clear spirit of some sort, the moonshine, or basically unaged new make stuff. Anytime you take something like that and you want to put some flavor in it, you can put some oak chips in it, or maple chips, or any other kind of wood if you want. Well, not any kind, as long as it's non-toxic, any other kind of wood. And so it darkened up a lot. In fact, since I have this here, here's what it looked like, so you can see that it's a really light color there. And here's where we're at now. So the color is darkened up quite a bit. This has been in here since 4/24/2021, so it's been in here since April. It's now September, so 5 months. But it's been at a pretty stable temperature down here in the basement, about 60 degrees. I did have it sitting upstairs, kind of thermal cycling between 100 degrees and maybe like 70 degrees this summer. But you can see you get some color, you're going to get some flavor out of that oak, but you're not really aging it. So you're not going to, to use the overused term, it's not going to smooth out at all. You're not getting that angel share, so your proof is not going to go up or down, because you're not getting any interplay with oxygen or any sort of changing dynamic there, but it does go in and out of the wood pieces that you have in there. So we'll tap back into that one, I don't know, maybe around Christmas or something like that, and we'll see where that one goes. But that's something fun to try if you haven't ever done that. If you find something, even like with those budget whiskeys, say you get a Canadian and you don't really like it or something, try throwing it on wood. You never know, you might get something that you really, really enjoy. So check that out as well. But that's really all I got going on, so sorry for the clutter here. You should see my man cave in the next room over. My hunting stuff is strewn from end to end, and looks like a tornado went through there. So I've been in the process the last couple days of cleaning gear, washing gear. Made the mistake of not washing my hunting clothes last season. You know, I checked them before I went this year, gave them the old sniff test. They smelled fine. But what I found was, first day on the mountain, it was 90 degrees, hot and sweaty nastiness, and they were putrid when I got back to camp. So actually laundered my clothes twice while out in the wilderness. That was an entertaining experience, and I'm not so sure that it actually helped all that much, because I just reeked. But having said that, me and my buddy got, I think, 12 or 13 occurrences where we were within 35 to 40 yards of elk. We had elk as close as, well, I had one as close as 10 yards, but I wasn't shooting, and my buddy had one as close as 12 yards on his very first day in camp, and the thing was right behind a tree, and it only needed 4 more feet, and he would have had it just perfect broadside, but it was not meant to be. So anyways, all that aside, anyways, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, if you're liking this content, please like and subscribe. That helps out, as well as maybe dropping a comment down below. Drop in the comments down below what you can find a bottle of Willett for in your local area. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Greatly appreciated. Check out Life and Whiskey on minds.com at life_and_whiskey. Also on bitchute at Life and Whiskey. If you're trying not to support YouTube, kind of like I am, but on the other hand, it's YouTube, so you got to go where the people are. Check that out. I'm also going to maybe check out Rumble and start an account there. If I do, I will take all the videos that I currently have, stick those over there, just as I've done from YouTube to BitChute and whatever else, and then also add any new videos going into that. We'll see what kind of time I can find here in the near future. Maybe over the winter, I don't know. We'll see what life brings me. But anyways, thanks again. As always, have yourselves a great day, and we'll catch you in the next video.